Would you like to reach our film and TV review podcast audience? Do you have a product or service of interest to film and TV home consumers or followers of the entertainment industry? Have a film or show production to publicize? For affordable price plans for all budgets, get in touch and find out about our introductory advertising options. Reach our audience of film and TV viewers and visit our site contact page at filmandtvreview.com, or you can email us at business@filmandtvreview.com. Reach out today. Welcome to filmandtvreview.com. Catch the latest film, TV and streamed show reviews every week. The views and opinions expressed by the authors and those providing comments are theirs alone. They do not reflect the views, opinions or position of filmandtvreview.com or their respective parent companies or affiliates. Filmandtvreview.com makes no representations as to accuracy, completeness, correctness, suitability, or validity of any information in this program and is for entertainment purposes only. Episodes may contain adult humor and language. For full terms and conditions, see filmandtvreview.com.
My name is Jeans, and we are going to be talking about holiday specials. We're going to be talking about, holiday movies, Christmas movies, TV show specials, everything to do with the holidays and celebration, of course, for the holiday period in general and Christmas next week. So I'm really excited to get into the spirit, the festive spirit, especially like for us in London. The snow is still on the ground, so it's very much the vibe at the moment. And I'm really happy to be sharing in this festive mood with everyone here today. So welcome. And just to get started, there are some classic Christmas movies that we can dive into. Honestly, the first one that always comes to mind for me is Elf, even though I haven't watched it in 10 years. That's always the first one that comes to mind. But there are some more recent films that I'd also like to dive into, and I would love to hear you guys' recommendations, because I'll be writing them down, because I'm really looking to be watching some Christmas movies this year for next week. But so should I start off with my selection? So as I said, the first film that comes to mind is Elf, but like I said, I haven't watched it in ages. The first film I actually want to talk about, I think, is so underrated but so brilliant. This is an animated film from Netflix, and it's called Klaus. I don't know if anyone else has watched it, but Klaus, honestly, the year it came out, I think it was in 2019, was one of the best films of that year, literally easily. And it's an amazing story about this really spoiled brat of a character who moves to this remote location where, it's freezing cold. He's basically is it the Arctic? Or Iceland or something. It's some it's supposed to be where Santa lives, basically. But they've created this village, this community, and this community is split up, into two kind of communities who hate each other. They have this horrible rivalry against each other. They're just polar opposites in every way. And he kind of enters this environment where it's super hostile, and the whole community is backwards as a result because of this lack of cooperation. And he gets to know everyone there. He gets to explore the community in this freezing cold. And of course, his own heart gets bigger as a result. And then he meets Klaus, who is voiced by J.K. Simmons. And Klaus is depicted as this like ordinary character. He's not like a mythical Santa type of character. But he develops this great friendship with J.K. Simmons' Klaus. And then, yeah, it allows Klaus himself to build as a character because he suffered the loss of his wife. So he's become a recluse as a result. And through that friendship, they end up, kind of enjoying life once again, especially during the festive season, and giving toys to the kids in the local community. I won't say what the twist is because there is a bit of a dark twist, and then it ends up being happily ever after. But overall, I would say that what struck out to me was just this really beautifully well-written story of friendship and deceit as well. And then also the animation style. What I really look for these days is just ingenuity and creativity when it comes to animation. There was a minute there where animation was starting to look quite homogenous, and examples like this, and of course Spider-Verse, we're seeing a bit more of it these days, just show, where we could go with animation, especially when you have these like live action, quote unquote, live action remakes kind of coming for animation's neck a little bit, You're like, how can you like a studio like Pixar just come up with the same old when you have Disney making quote unquote live action films like The Lion King that are basically photorealistic animated films? You have to come up with different artistic styles to stand out. And I think Klaus is a great example of that. So that's my example of an animated film. The second one that I would bring up is a very recent one, which was the Marvel special presentation. And that was the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. Now, this was cute. I didn't think it was like the best thing ever. But I think what really stood out was like the second half. I don't know if anyone else has seen. Sorry, I'm just going to turn this off. I don't know if anyone else has seen the holiday special, but at the beginning, it's this cute story about what's her name? Mantis and Drax. They go on this like mini quest to kidnap Kevin Bacon, naturally, because they want to cheer up Peter Quill during the holiday season. And so they go kidnap him. And Kevin Bacon's like, what's going on? And, hijinks ensue. And that's all adorable, very fun. But then you get to that second half where you see, the lengths at which they go to like make Peter's holiday experience really nice. And it's so touching. It's so genuine. And it just reminded me of what made the Guardians of the Galaxy so great. I actually was so happy to see them back on my screen. I didn't realize how much I'd missed them as a group. And it just reminded me of how amazing James Gunn, how impressive it was that James Gunn took these obscure characters like the Guardians of the Galaxy that no one knew, no one cared about in 2014 and introduced them to the world, and people fell in love with them, not because they had, the most intricate power sets and not because they had the most recognizable names, but because that team dynamic was just so infectious and so relatable. That's why they stood out as a team. And that was, I think, one of James Gunn's greatest accomplishments in this franchise. And that's kind of harkened back to in this little holiday special. It's just really heartwarming and touching. So, yeah, that's another recommendation. That's something that I could see myself watching, year after year and just having a fun time with it. And I have to say, even though, what's his name? Chris Pratt. I went through all the Chris's there. At least you went through all the Chris's in my head. But even though Chris Pratt is dragged all the time and people say they hate him and whatever, I do think that his Peter Quill came off really well here. Certainly better than it did in Thor Love and Thunder, where he was just a shell of his former self. I don't know what happened there. But in this special, it wasn't much, but it was just enough to kind of give the audience a chance to see his, more emotional side, which I think has been missing for a while. Yeah, so those are my two kind of main picks. And then another thing that I wanted to highlight, and I'm sure you guys have some favorites for this as well, but TV specials. I recently watched the TV specials for Abbott Elementary. the TV special, sorry, and the Christmas episodes was just really fun. Like I enjoy the Christmas episodes in TV shows where they kind of step out of their regular scheduled programming and give us a nice Christmas special. I think Rick and Morty also had one for season 6 just passed. So yeah, I wonder if you guys have any Christmas specials or any movies that you enjoy. Let's see who wants to go first.
Okay. So I have strange recommendations. I don't know if it's recommendations, but just actually something things that I like. It's not really, I don't know if it's called a Christmas movie, but it's also called an Halloween movie, actually. I think every single year I do watch The Nightmare Before Christmas, actually. Can we call The Nightmare Before Christmas a Christmas movie? I'd say yes.
This is a lifelong debate.
Exactly. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if you can call it. Yeah, I mean, it's divisive, but anyway. But yeah, I think it's still a masterpiece for what it is. Actually, it's not very long, but the way it is done, I mean, the design, visually it's done, and but even I think even the songs, I say in my head, years later, I think last time I watched it was indeed November 2021. It looks like actually I watch it every year, and yeah, and there is some kind of I don't know, some kind of it's weird to say that you can relate to the main character, but almost actually there is some kind of something touching actually about the main character of Nightmare Before Christmas. For me, it's definitely not an animated movie that you can show to very small kids. Not because it's scary, but I'm not sure actually they would understand actually where he's coming from. So I really, really like this movie. Also, maybe more popular and more family friendly. Growing up in the 90s, I think I watched 1,000 times Home Alone. And I'm not even joking. In French, yes, I probably know all the dialogues in French of Home Alone. Yeah, Home Alone 2 even is actually quite funny, even if it's like a copy paste of Home Alone 1, to be honest. But still, it's very good, especially because of the two bad guys actually. And it's also, if you have a child, well, talking about children, if you are a child and you watch a movie like this, it's like a dream, to be honest. The child is the hero. His parents are not at home. He can do whatever he wants. And he defeats the bad guys. So what more can you expect for a movie for children? To be honest, it really it is the best recipe for a successful family movie, Home Alone, in my opinion.
That's really cool. Thank you, Richard.
Yeah. You're welcome.
So, does anyone else have any recommendations or any Christmas movies, holiday movies that they love to watch year after year? Cody, I see you've got your hand up. Yeah. Cody, it's been a minute.
Yeah, I know. I've been busy. So, and I'm really excited because I just downloaded it last night just to make sure I got it. So I don't even know why, but where I was from, every year on TV was Mary Poppins. Regardless of the year, Mary Poppins come out, and then at some point I was like, we don't do Mary Poppins anymore, right? And then we stopped getting TV. So I went on, I downloaded it, and during the Christmas dinner, I'm going to make the Christmas dinner, and during the Christmas dinner, I'm going to watch Mary Poppins. I think it's eternal. I think it is absolutely a beautiful movie, and just like, yeah, it's just beautiful. There's no like fighting, there's no like aggression, there's no like bad things. It's all just funny and beautiful. And I haven't seen it yet because I don't particularly think cartoons are necessarily for adults, right? But I have really been wanting to watch. You mentioned the live enactment Disney, The Lion King. I've been told that is brilliant. I've been told it's amazing, and yes, I also definitely want to watch that.
Yeah. Did you watch the animated version?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sucked.
What? Cody, are you insane? What?
You go back to the text and you see the bit where I said, but it's a cartoon, right?
Okay. Oh my God, Cody, you're stressing me out. How can you not love The Lion King? What is going on?
Is this a cartoon?
No. Okay, fine. So hopefully you'll like the live action, even though it's also animated, but it's animated in a
Yeah.
photorealistic way.
Yeah, I've
So
been told it's really good. And Gordon Ramsay's new the new 12, 11 of well, we've had MasterChef and Hell's Kitchen, and it is good. I know it's good. The Christmas episode is going to be amazing. So yeah, but you want Christmas? Gordon Ramsay's Hell's Kitchen Christmas edition. It's going to be amazing. Watch it, and yeah, that's about all I've got really.
that's actually a really good point about like Christmas specials for like reality shows. I always like the Bake Off one as well. Yeah, and also I love the end of year comedy specials where they go through like what happened throughout the year. I know that they're going to be talking about Meghan and Harry for sure. They're going to be talking about Meghan and Harry. They're going to be talking about what else are they going to talk about for 2022? What happened this year? I'm blanking now. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to those holiday specials as well, where you have like the comedians or like, I don't know if they'll have like 8 out of 10 cats does countdown. Like I love those so much. So that's the only time I watch British television. So, so yeah, I can't wait for those. But Andrew, do you have any holiday specials that you really love checking out every year?
Yeah, I mean there are. I'm still kind of fixated on like what's wrong with cartoons. I happen to like cartoons, so I don't know
Same.
what's wrong with cartoons.
I agree.
Cartoons are fine. I'm nothing wrong with them. I don't know.
I agree.
I see the comments. I like cartoons. So, but yeah. Anyway, but having said that, getting back to the topic, there's like a couple of things. And I noticed this last year. I guess we did this topic. And first off, obviously due to national vocabulary, whatever, in the U.S. versus the U.K., in the U.S. they say go on vacation rather than go on holiday. That's just, it goes back to, I think, French ancestry of some Americans, and I don't know. I don't want to go into the whole thing, but what I'm really getting to, and this is the main thing, is that in the U.S. they say rather than Merry Christmas or Happy Christmas, they say Happy Holidays. And I'm kind of two minds of that. It's the idea is that it's not just Christmas and New Year's. It's the idea of that there are other people that celebrate other festive celebrations, and in the U.S. versus other countries, the Jewish holiday or religious holiday of Hanukkah is more of a thing. It's not a major Jewish holiday, but it just, because it falls the same time as Christmas, it's like, okay, here's a thing that this group can celebrate at the same time that Christmas is being celebrated.
Yeah, I think it's like a move towards like inclusivity, isn't it? Like trying
to... and that's the idealistic side, but the more cynical side says it's really more about trying to get people to buy stuff. Like if it's only about Christmas and people of the Christian faith, then only that group is going to buy stuff. But if you make it Happy Holidays, and because they don't mention like Eids or other things, or
that's true.
Was like a couple of months ago, but they could make it even more inclusive. But it's really about getting people to buy stuff, decorations and presents and little thingy bobs, whatever. But having said all that, there are certain things that, are Christmas specific, and then there's just more seasonal things. And then even some of the Christmas stuff is more like, there's like the religious, and then there's also just the more idea of Santa and his reindeer and that whole thing. There's actually the Disney Plus series that came out. It's the Santa Clauses, and it's a sequel series, I guess, to the Santa Claus with an E at the end. Movies that Tim Allen did back in the 90s and early aughties, 2000s.
By the way, can I just say, because of those films, I kept thinking that that's how you spell Santa Claus. They used to confuse me.
You're not the only one. A lot of people do, but it's a play on words because of a legal clause it's a play on words.
Okay, understood. Yeah.
But
I used to be so confused.
No, it's actually a joke. It's supposed to be a play on words because Santa Claus a character, and then clause in someone's contract.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. But there are people, Eugenia is the only one, who actually thought who grew up in
how
that
you
generation.
spelt it. Yeah.
But no, that's just a play on words. So the new series, it's all right. It's not as good as some of the films, but I will say that it's it addresses certain, I don't say plot holes, but certain things that weren't addressed in the earlier films, or things that like, well, how come this or how come that? And the series does kind of address that. But having said that, the series seems to, I'm not really sure what the focus is. I guess there kind of is one, but it's like, but it's, I guess people want to see Tim Allen again. It's nostalgia thing, seeing that Scott Calvin, Santa Claus, get the initials, same initials, one or the other. And then seeing him with, some familiar characters and some new characters. And yeah, I mean, I thought it was all right, but yeah, not as good as the earlier films. And then some other ones that I've watched. There's like a whole plethora of versions of A Christmas Carol. I mean, there's Christmas Carol versions of Christmas Carol.
That is a whole genre in and of itself. That is just a whole different one. Who's everyone? Which of the Christmas Carol iterations are your favorites then?
Well, see, that's the thing, is that I saw one recently that was new because it's a theater, and every year in Washington D.C. they do a live theatrical production of Christmas Carol. It's at a historic theater in Washington D.C. I don't know. It's actually a theater that's pretty infamous, called Ford's Theater. If you know American history, you may recognize that name, but it's actually been a theater for a couple of centuries, and they still do productions there. So every year they do a live production of A Christmas Carol. And I think what makes this one unique is that you have these characters, and I think it's the same actors who double as ghosts. I mean, the three main ghosts, not Jacob Marley, but and then those actors, I think the same ones also play people who are indebted to, at the beginning at least, to Scrooge. And Scrooge tries to hit them up for money at the beginning, and then, not really much of a spoiler, the story at the end, he kind of just forgives their debt. It's like, you're good. You don't need to do that. So I think that because you have those characters who are kind of significant in this story, or a little bit more significant, you have that, that makes it a little bit more unique than other versions. And then the other thing, that because it is live theater, at the end, you have the cast break character just for a moment, or at least Scrooge, the actor, breaks character. First off, he's an American, so obviously goes from being, posh or old English to, American. But he's also saying, we hope you've enjoyed our show. In the lobby, there's little baskets or whatever, or things you can leave donations to help out local schools in the Washington D.C. area. And it's like, you've just seen a whole show about, giving and how you should give Christmas time. I mean, how can you not, after that production, be like, refuse charity? I mean, it's like, they're smart. They're smart. So, but other than that, other versions I've seen, I still like Muppet Christmas Carol. That's a fun one. Michael Caine does a good Scrooge, and I think
That's
one of the
classic,
things they said, one of the things they said is that because Michael Caine spoke to the Muppets like they were, regular people. I mean, yes, they're puppeteers. You can see the person there, but the idea that he was addressing them as regular people, not talking down to them like, oh, yeah, and he really got into the character. And then you had one of the Muppets, Gonzo, being Charles Dickens, more or less, and actually quoting or even paraphrasing things from the original novel. That it makes it a little bit more unique. And I understand that Disney Plus actually reinstated or inserted the song that was taken out for a while, "When Love Is Gone," because I was taken out many releases of that film, but I guess it's been reinstated by Disney Plus. Oh yeah, and I guess it's been reinstated in the cinemas too. So that's one version. And then I'm trying to think of other versions. There's like the newer versions.
Have you
Like
seen
Patrick Stewart.
the Jim Carrey one? The one that was like
Oh,
Yeah, I was
motion
about to
cap.
mention this one. It's a great one.
3D
I love it.
animation.
It's all right, I guess. I mean, it wasn't really
I
that
remember
unique.
just being freaked out by it because of the uncanny valley sort of
Yeah,
animation.
the polar express.
Yeah.
But I think that version, Jim Carrey version, it was just like, what's the point? Because there's so many other versions, and there wasn't anything that was that unique to it. I mean, there's other versions that I've seen. As I said, there's Patrick Stewart. I guess Cody mentioned that. There's George C. Scott. Then there's older versions like Alistair Sim, is it Reginald Owen, I think, and and then there's one with Albert Finney, the musical version, and then there's the version with Bill Murray, Scrooge. There's also the newer one called Spirited with Will Ferrell
Ryan Reynolds.
and Ryan Reynolds, where they're trying to get Ryan Reynolds' character to change his ways. And
Is
that's
that
also
another A Christmas Carol adaptation? I didn't realize that.
I won't say much about it, but yeah, it is supposed to be that they're trying to get this Ryan Reynolds character to change his ways. He's kind of like the miserly one.
Okay.
So, but
I
I
want
won't
to
say
watch
much
it for
about
this
it.
Christmas. But yeah, and also my favorite one, the one that I grew up watching, was the Mickey Mouse one.
Mickey's Christmas. Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. That
the
one
Alan
with
Young.
yeah. So yeah, that was amazing. I remember the scene where Pete like points to Scrooge's grave always haunted me. I always thought that was very effective. But he's like, this is what's going to end up happening to you. You're going to be alone. You're going to die alone. No one's going to care about you. That point was very, very much hammered home in that children's version of the story. But yeah, so that is like a holiday staple, like that is like I said, a whole genre in of its own that we see pop up during the holidays every year, as is the classic romance, the seasonal romance stories. I think you guys have Hallmark, don't you? Like
that one, yeah.
Yeah.
There's like a whole bunch of those, and
that's amazing.
They actually started with the Hanukkah one this year, so.
Really? They did a Hanukkah one?
This year, yeah, for the first time. So
wow.
I guess they want to do cheesy romance for everyone. So
for everyone. And then next will be, I think, Kwanzaa next. Like holidays.
Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, I guess people, I mean, it is cheesy stuff. I know that there was some controversy because they started doing like same gender couples for some of these. And there was this actress, Candace Cameron Bure, didn't like that, and so she's kind of going off and doing her own thing. So,
wow, because it's very much targeted towards traditionally the conservative market, right? So, maybe that's the audience that had an issue with it. But I think there are so many. You need some variety. Like whenever I'm like hopping on like special Netflix these days, it's literally just full of these like Hallmark films, and even Netflix.
So many with always the same story.
Sorry?
It's so many, but always with the same story.
Yeah, literally, you could write it out. Like you have some woman who's a hard worker, but she's never had luck in love, and she goes to her hometown. Exactly. Never seen that, but she goes to her hometown. And
she always has the same job. She works in some kind of marketing, PR agency, whatever. Always.
Or in publishing.
Apparently nobody works like, I don't know, like a bakery or a doctor. No, it's always some kind of office, PR, design, whatever. Always.
Which is true.
Always, I don't know who wrote these things, because it's someone like you who had a very difficult personal life, because what I mean is always the stereotype of she used to date a very rich, successful guy, but didn't end well. So when she goes home to her hometown in the middle of nowhere, she finds again a first love who probably works a work related to wood, or I don't know, like a very sorry to say, a very basic job.
It's like a class thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And obviously that's the man of a dream, and living in a house in the middle of the forest, that's a dream. And let's forget about New York. Honestly, that's the whole story. That's it.
Oh, yeah, that's so true about the current boyfriend. Like, either it's her ex-boyfriend or it's her current boyfriend who treats her like crap, and he's like really rapid and successful. And
you know what, Jean?
And he's like too busy with his meetings to take her out on a date. And like when they go on a date, he's never paying attention.
Exactly.
And then
always. I'm saying that
doesn't sound like a that doesn't sound like a Hallmark film. That sounds like typical romances. Right? All typical. But I do agree with you. But don't forget the waitress. There's always like a waitress one as well. And she's slim with limpy blonde hair.
Yeah.
You know, it's always that, isn't it? There's some really good. I've kind of forgotten now the names of some, but yeah, I definitely agree with you guys. So yeah,
you don't need to remember the names. You just put if you have like a random word generator where you just it'll be like a Christmas awakening, or Christmas love, or holidays greetings,
or something for Christmas.
Yeah, romance and the holidays, you know, whatever. Like, you can just jumble these words around, and I'm sure there's a film that's called exactly that that Hallmark has made, or maybe even Netflix, because they have one. What's the recent one? Falling in Love. That's it. That's literally.
That's the one with Lindsay Lohan or whatever.
Who? Sorry.
There's one with Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah, the Lindsay Lohan. Yeah, which one? So, they have Noel Diary. I'm just looking on their page now, and they have that's the Lindsay Lohan one, the Falling in Love one. Yeah. So I mean, it's just everywhere. And they're the same thing. Like, you know exactly what's going to happen. I don't know who's watching these. I personally it's not for me.
There's one on Amazon. Every time I open Amazon, there's a trailer of that movie with the guy from Sex Education, and it's some kind. I think the title is something like Christmas Mix-Up or something like that. And the trailer, up to 10 seconds, you know what the story for an hour and a half would be. Is that actually that he's dating this girl, and I think that they decide they're gonna have Christmas at her parents' house, and she thinks it would be at his parents' house. So there's a mix-up. So he ends up at, let's say, at his in-laws, and she goes at her in-laws, and that's it. That's going to be an hour and a half of them being in the wrong family, and it could be sorted by just one phone call. And they could just.
I'm seeing the one that you're talking about. It's called Your Christmas or Mine.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. And I mean, the story is written in 5 seconds in one sentence. And that's it. And they're going to manage to actually drag it up for an hour and a half.
Wow. That is incredible. Do you know what's even crazier? Is that's not even the one I was thinking of when you started, talking about the Amazon one. Because there's another Amazon one that I was thinking of. So that's crazy. Oh yeah, there's one that's something from Tiffany's. That's the one that I was thinking of. Yeah, it's a very popular genre, is our point. But obviously we're not the biggest fans of that genre personally, but I see the appeal. People like the comfort and the predictability, something to have on in the background whilst you're wrapping presents. It could be a vibe. Although, speaking of holiday themed romance films, I think a really good one, of course, you have like Love Actually, which is a classic. But The Holiday is legitimately.
Oh my God.
Excellent. Sorry.
I like it.
I heard you say Love Actually. That film cringes me out. I just feel like vomiting every time. I can't stand it. But Holidays is interesting. Is that the one with that English actor? Jude Law.
Jude
Yeah,
Law,
Jude
yeah.
Law and Kate
Okay.
Winslet, I think.
That
So you
was
recommend
really
Diaz.
adorable.
Okay, okay. I
Jack
thought
Yeah,
Black,
that was
yeah.
really good. Another
okay.
favorite is Nativity with what's his name? Martin
Oh, that
Freeman.
one. Okay.
Yeah. Nativity. The Nativity films, adorable. I love the Nativity films. So there are some pretty good, romance holiday movies. But yeah, the Hallmark ones are a bit.
Has anyone spoken about Home Alone yet? Because that's my all-time childhood classic. I can always go back to it.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, Richard was talking about it. My question is though, Adam, have you watched the one with Donald Trump, the sequel?
No. Excuse me?
But
hold on, what
Donald Trump is in 5 seconds in the movie, to be honest.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
When he started as an extra. Yeah. Do you know what? I think that became quite public news a year later after he obviously became president. But
yeah.
It's just one of those feel-good films for me that's still funny, and you can be any age, watch it with the family and the kids. And actually, dare I say, even with adult friends, I still think it's funny. It's a good, humorous, and Meet the Parents. I'd say that's another, for me, kind of like a Christmas classic, fun film. So I've kind of taken it away from romance. Didn't mean to. Die Hard as well, but I'm sure you guys have touched that already.
Oh, we didn't mention that. Yeah, that's the classic kind of Christmas movie with an edge. Yeah.
Absolutely. And even though it's available on one of the streaming, I'd still go to the cinema to watch it. I'm that sad. There's just something
that's
about
amazing, though.
Yeah, no, he's such a fun actor when he was younger, and it was just done so well. And there's something for me about late 80s and 90s films when it comes to kind of like Christmas nostalgia, and you can't expect too much sophistication in the storyline or the acting, but that adds to the kind of Christmas cringe element for me. So yeah, definitely Die Hard, Home Alone. I can't think of anything more actually. Oh, I quite like The Grinch as well,
Of course. The Grinch.
Yeah.
The Grinch is currently like #1 on iTunes, and it's because every single year, without fail, people will turn to The Grinch. And people even love the Illumination Studios animated version as well. So The Grinch is a very
so which
popular
versions?
character.
The Illumination and which
versions?
with
Benedict Cumberbatch, where he voices the Grinch. Yeah, people love that one. But yeah, so the people are huge fans of The Grinch. They love both iterations of it. So that's another classic one, I would say. Yeah. Do you have any others, Adam?
I do. One more. I'm going to really show my age now. Oh, Santa Claus the movie. It's so old, but a fun, really like family go-to kind of film. Does anyone remember that? Santa Claus the movie from, I think it was made in the
94.
70s. Oh, 94.
Wait, are you talking about Santa Claus the movie or the Santa Claus the one with Tim Allen?
I can't remember the name of the actor, but it was the one that came out in the 70s.
Yeah, or the 80s. The reindeer magic stuff was
that's the one. Yep. And they can end up flying.
Oh, there's one in that one. Okay. Yeah, from the 80s.
Yeah, I think it's an 80. Yeah, that's it, James. 85. So
and they put the magic stuff in the sweets, and that's what they give out.
Yeah, that one. And it was just one of those films where, it's so easy to follow. You can jump in anytime. And my parents loved it. We loved it. The kids loved it. I wonder what when I say kids at that time, I wonder what the new generation would make of it now, But it was really Christmassy messaging, like doing charity because there was this homeless boy who didn't have a family. He was an orphan, and how he goes on this wild journey, and Santa's, elf has lost his ways. And there was all these little cool subplots, which I thought really made the film just a really fun Christmas holiday film. Yeah.
Was John Lithgow in that also, or is that a different?
I just saw he was apparently. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think he's like a villain or something. Yeah.
Yeah, he is. I can see him with the fake teeth. Oh no, I think he's doing something interesting with his own teeth. That's
he
fun.
wasn't actually a bad guy. He was the guy that wanted to make the business run. He was working for the company, and so he sell the lollipops, and he didn't care about Christmas. He wanted to sell the lollipops. So he was just a business.
Okay, yeah.
You know?
So a bad guy.
No.
Oh, capitalism. But yeah, that's really fun. I've never actually heard of that film, so that's fun because I thought you were talking about the Tim Allen one as well. The one.
Oh yeah, no, this is like there's all a lot of things with Santa Claus in the title. There was actually an excellent one from the late 50s about Santa Claus that Gets
Okay.
parodied a lot.
Okay, yeah, I think that most of the ones that I know are from like the 90s onwards. So that's really cool. Thanks for that, Adam. Like, I don't know if you guys noticed, but just from like talking about these previous films, a lot of them have come from like the 90s era, the early 2000s. There aren't a ton that are being made like nowadays. And that's why I think something like Spirited, Apple TV Plus is Spirited with Ryan Reynolds and Colin Farrell. No, not Colin Farrell. What's
Will
his
Ferrell.
name? Will
Will
Farrell.
Ferrell.
Do you know what? I always get Colin Farrell, Colin Firth, and Will Farrell mixed up. But anyways, but that film is nice and refreshing as well because we don't often get a lot of live action holiday movies these days. And another example of one that came to mind afterwards was Jingle Jangle from last year. It was from Netflix. And that was one of the rare live action family Christmas movies from this like modern era, and it was actually a film that had a primarily Black cast, and I thought it was really, really good. It had this like really cool Afro punk Victorian kind of aesthetic to it. And it was like this really great world that they created. It looked really high production. It was done really, really well. And I think it was so nice to see like this Christmas movie with a primarily Black cast with these really talented kids at the center of it. The story is, quite stereotypical. There's a lesson to be learned. But I think it's a really great addition to the landscape of Christmas movies, especially from this like new modern era. So yeah, Jingle Jangle, A Christmas Story. That's another recommendation that I just thought of from Netflix. It's a really, really great family movie. But Cody, sorry, I saw that you had your hand up earlier.
Yeah, I was just it came to mind because it was one of the ones that I thought were really good in its time was the Billy Bob Thornton Bad Santa. Like,
oh, that's good. That's like a different take. That reminds me of Violent Night, the recent film that just came out as well. The like different version of Santa, like what if Santa was a badass sort of thing. Yeah, that's a good one. That's really, really good.
What was the one? I think it was like last year or the year before. A Badass Santa with I think it was like the man in the suit or something with was it Mel Gibson? Yeah, Mel Gibson. What did Mel Gibson do? Really good.
Is it Fat Man?
Batman. That was actually really good. I'm not even joking. That was. I thought that was going to be a load of rubbish, and I watched it with a mate, and it was brilliant.
That's fun. Yeah. So again, just another like subgenre that we see in the holidays. The idea of like, what can we do with this wholesome, lovable, father figure of a Christmas character? I know, let's make him a deadbeat. Like, let's just make him the worst person ever. And like I said, the most recent example of this is with Violent Nights, which has
David Harbour.
David Harbour, that's it, David Harbour as the star. But yeah, James, do you have any like films, Christmas movies that come to mind, or TV show specials, anything?
Yeah, so Merry Christmas, everybody. I've bought you all some Compound V, which if you watch The Boys, you'll know what that is. And I've spiked all your drinks, so next year is going to be friggin' awesome for all of us, basically. There's loads of sort of Christmas things. To pick up on what Andrew was talking about with the Muppet Christmas Carol, I wasn't sure why that song was deleted. Apparently, when they looked at it originally, they thought it was too downbeat, that song, and obviously they wanted it to be like,
there's a lot of reasons
sort of
to make it.
But the film sort of stood the test of time and it sort of become a bit legendary. And so I think they weren't even sure where it was located. So when they come to present like the 4K transfer to somebody like a producer or a director, they were like, oh, we didn't even realize that we knew where that song was. Although they had the audio recording, they thought the film footage was lost. So I haven't been to see that in the cinema yet, but I will probably catch it on Disney Plus sort of over the Christmas period. I watched the film earlier. Now, I thought it was pretty good, but like all you guys seem so like down on rom-coms and stuff that I'm like terrified now to talk about this film. But it is one of those things, like a lot of Christmas films, like you want something familiar, don't you? And like CJ said, you want something that you can just put on for the whole family and there's nothing massively offensive in it. There's a film on Sky Cinema called This Is Christmas, and it's a guy who gets a train into London every day, and he just suddenly decides spontaneously, I see all these strangers all year, I don't know their names, why don't I throw a Christmas party for them? And obviously, if you tried to do, I think anyone who lives in London would know, if you tried to talk to anybody on the tube, they look at you like you're completely mental. And that's what everybody does. But as the drama continues, people start to sort of like have a little chat here and there. It's got a really good supporting cast. It's got people like Timothy Spall, Joanna Scanlon, and Ben Miller in it. But it's got a lot of cast that I've not heard of before. And sort of to touch on what Jean was saying, like it's quite a diverse cast. And when you look at the sort of history of Christmas films, a lot of them are sort of quite vanilla in places. And it was good to sort of see a modern, realistic London portrayed, but also have that like classic Christmas feel to it.
Yeah, just about in there, you have Alfred Enoch, who's the star, and he was from How to Get Away with Murder. So yeah, I remember seeing his face. And
the lead female character, I don't even want to try and pronounce her surname, but she looks familiar from stuff. And I couldn't place what she was in, but I actually got so into it that I didn't have IMDb up, like looking at what everybody had been in. It was just like a real sort of feel-good movie. And all rom-coms are kind of predictable. I mean, all sort of genre stuff isn't it? But there is something in that like familiarity and that sort of warm feeling of the film. I thought, yeah, this is kind of good, you know. I mean, some of these films that we're saying, like a lot of these ones we're listing from the 80s and 90s, there's a lot of nostalgia for those times anyway. I feel like there are a lot of new Christmas films, like almost too many, like they're like 10 a penny now, but it's like which ones will stick, which ones will, you know, out of all the ones that have come out this year, which ones are we going to come back to? Do you know what I mean? And we won't really know the answer to that until like 5, maybe 10 years time. So yeah, particularly the Grinch ones and stuff, I think are really good. I did go to see Black Christmas this year, which is a 1974 horror film. It was back in cinemas for one night, and it's sort of the precursor to Halloween in the way that it's a slasher stalker film, quite realistic and grounded, and it does predate John Carpenter's Halloween. I thought it was pretty good. It held up pretty well, and there was more humor in it than I was expecting. I mean, there was more bad language in it than I was expecting for a film from the 1970s. And I thought actually it was better acted than I was expecting. I thought I was really going in to see like a terrible B movie, but I thought actually not everybody in the cast was fantastic, but a lot of it sort of held up pretty well. And I didn't really I didn't guess the twists, and I liked I'm trying not to spoil this, but the sort of ambiguity of who the killer is or who the stalker is in that film. So yeah, that was pretty good. The only other one I'll say, like, it's not a Christmas film, but someone said, like, you know, about having films that are for all the family. One that I've seen this year that I kind of watched and I thought, oh, that was kind of fun. And then I just kept thinking about it over and over again. I really want to watch it again. I might put it on Christmas Day. Is a film called Brian and Charles, and this come out this year. It's about, it stars David Earl, the British comedian David Earl, as a lonely inventor called Brian who lives in Wales. It's got amazing cinematography, but he invents stuff. He invents all this nutty stuff. And then one day he decides he's going to build a robot. But this robot is the naffest DIY robot you've ever seen. So it's got, it's sort of like a paper mache head. It talks like an old speak and spell machine, and it's got a washing machine for a body. And this is obviously just a guy walking about. I mean, if you watch the trailer online, you kind of get the tone of it pretty quickly, but it's just very charming, really well shot. And it was only after I finished, I laughed a lot. And then after it finished, I realized it was a PG certificate. And I was like, that's kind of cool, actually, that there was nothing in there that was sort of offensive, that you could just put it on for a family audience, but it didn't feel like a kid's movie, if you know what I mean. And it's just the idea of when you see this robot, you'll just go, what? Who thought of that? Because it looks so rubbish. And apparently it started on the stand-up circuit in London. It's like a thing that they've done a stand-up, and then they did a short film, and then they've done like a full-length thing. So that will have no material likely to offend anybody on Christmas Day. Or it's not just about children. I don't want to explain sex jokes to my nan on Christmas Day, which happens a lot during some of the things that we've put on over the years. So, so those are my choices. This Is Christmas, which is on Sky Cinema, Black Christmas, which is probably available for streaming somewhere, and Brian and Charles.
Those are some like really great choices, actually. I want to watch Brian and Charles. And you did make a very good point, James, about the fact that there are a ton of Christmas movies, but not the kinds that you think would stand the test of time. I think that is a very good kind of distinction to make, because like if we're considering like all of the Hallmark films and the ones that just feel a bit low budget, low production, there are a ton of them. But the ones that, like you said, like Home Alone, The Grinch, the ones that just really stand out, there aren't as many. I think it's also because just in general, we're seeing such a divide in audiences. And so it's tough to get everyone to watch these, particular films. I think back in the day, people used to like have the same cassettes that were sold in like Woolworths or Argos or whatever. And we would just watch them over and over and over again. And that's what, gave these films that feeling of timelessness. Whereas these days, it's like, you'll have films that come out for this holiday cycle, and then you'll forget about them the next one. So yeah, that's a really good point. Like there are a few options out there, but it's about the ones that you want to come back to every year. But thank you very much, James, for these options. So is there anyone else who hasn't spoken? Alfonso, are you here?
Yes, I am here.
Hiya. Do you
Hiya.
have any holiday recommendations, holiday specials?
Well, I don't know. I guess that the
I can
ones that
hear the
everyone.
excitement in your voice. Like I can hear. I can hear how this is the best time of year. You're so excited to talk about your favorite films.
I am not particularly festive this year, but of course. I mean, I wasn't here before, but I guess Love Actually has already been said, because that's something that I discovered when it was in cinemas, and then it has become a staple. I remember when
I was saying that you set the trend. You're saying that it was
probably because I got shredded by my screenwriter teacher when I said that it was one of my favorite movies, and he was like, Love Actually, really? And he like encouraged everyone to laugh at me. So
no.
Yeah. So then after a while, when it has become like something that plays every single year, then I feel vindicated.
Absolutely.
So yeah. And also, I don't know, Family Man. I like it also as a Christmas movie. Home Alone. Yeah. Home Alone has this wonderful soundtrack by John Williams. It's like na 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 na.
It sounded like Horrid Henry. That did not sound like Home Alone. But okay, I get the gist. I
try. Yeah. Scrooged is like my favorite version of Christmas Carol. The Family Stone, which is the walkiest Christmas film ever.
The Family Stone?
Yeah. Do you know the one with Claire Danes?
No, tell us about that one.
It's like Rachel McAdams, I think.
Yeah, Rachel McAdams, Claire Danes, Sarah Jessica Parker, Diane Keaton.
The first line of the summary is: a traditionalist and uptight businesswoman goes with her boyfriend to his quirky and outgoing family's yearly Christmas bash.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get the gist.
And then, Rent has good Christmas scenes as a musical to remember to be together as a like family that you choose or something like that in Christmas. I don't know. There are so many. But yeah, those are some.
Well, thank you, Alfonso. Yeah, there's some pretty good choices, and some that I'd never heard of. So thanks for that. Yeah, but guys, I'm not sure if anyone else has any other Christmas. Jason's like shaking his head. But I think Andrew.
Oh yeah. Well, I was just trying to think of some classics. I don't know about that, but I did actually see recently, not really classic, but a more recent Christmas horror film called Good Tidings. And that was one where it's like these three guys dress up as Santa and go on like some kind of terrorist spree in like it's like an abandoned courthouse, but it's been taken over by some like homeless or people just looking for a place to kind of sleep or whatever, and they just kind of terrorize the residents of this building. So it's kind of cheesy, campy, but I just thought I'd mention it. I don't know where it's filmed exactly. It was a British film, but it was just something I happened to catch because this other group was watching it, and it was on Tubi, so it was free. I mean, with ads.
Okay.
So, and it was something a little bit different for the Christmas season. I see this three crazy guys, and one of them has this little candy cane that he keeps sucking on, and has like a little point to it, and they have like a certain walk. So, I thought it was a little quirky film. So, I thought I'd mention that.
Yeah, horror on Christmas. That's a nice like juxtaposition that people can get behind. That's fun.
I've got to say, there's a film, I mention it every year, and I think I did mention it to Alfonso, called Better Watch Out. And the storyline of it is basically some parents of a teenage child go to like a Christmas party, and they call over a slightly older teenage babysitter to look after this boy. He's got a crush on his babysitter, but she's got an older boyfriend. And at some point during the night, a brick comes through the window saying, "You leave, you die." And basically, the hostage is in the house now, and it's sort of a comedy horror. But there's a theme running through in it that they do a lot of stuff that features in Home Alone, but with the real consequences of the things that happen in Home Alone. There's currently apparently a series on Sky Max called The Unofficial Science of Home Alone, with James Acaster, Guz Khan, and Alex Brooker. And the idea is to look at all the stunts, all the things that Macaulay Culkin does to the burglars in Home Alone, and what would happen in real life. Spoiler, they would die. Like, there's no, like, the thing that's great about Home Alone is it's like Tom and Jerry, isn't it? It's a live action cartoon, but none of the things that happen in Home Alone would result. I mean, that kid would go to prison, but when you watch Better Watch Out, that is pretty much what happens. There's some horrific reconstructions of things that happen in Home Alone. It's really difficult to find. It's actually an Australian film, which everybody puts on an American accent, so you sort of meant to think that it's set in America. But the actress in it, I don't know her name, played Priscilla Presley in the Elvis biopic this year. So her career has sort of really gone well. But a lot of the film, there's probably only there's three main cast members and then like a couple of others. And it's really just how good that young cast are in selling this thing. But Better Watch Out, I think you can rent it on Prime, but it never turns up on Netflix. It's really annoying. But it's just an enjoyable, dark comedy, basically. And very festive. Very festive.
That is so funny. I love the idea of like someone watching Home Alone and being like, you know what? What if it wasn't a kids' movie? What if we actually committed? Like, what if? You know, what if? That's wild. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that kid from Home Alone is definitely going to juvie or something. He committed crimes. Okay, guys. So does anyone else have any like holiday movies, TV shows, anything like that? Well, okay, in that case, now that we've talked about all of our favorite holiday movies, Christmas movies, and TV shows, I want to thank everyone for listening and thank everyone who's here. It's been a really fun discussion about our favorite time of the year. And all that's left to say is Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to all, and have a great New Year, everyone. Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this film and TV review.com episode. Catch the latest film and TV reviews, together with regular episode content from the world of film and TV every week. See you soon. Would you like to reach our film and TV review podcast audience? Do you have a product or service of interest to film and TV home consumers or followers of the entertainment industry? Have a film or show production to publicize? For affordable price plans for all budgets, get in touch and find out about our introductory advertising options. Reach our audience of film and TV viewers and visit our site contact page at filmandtvreview.com, or you can email us at business@filmandtvreview.com. Reach out today.